All right. Whoops. I just put John G in the waiting room. Can you guys hear us? Yes? Awesome. All right. Well, it's 11:01, which makes us 1 minute past our appointment. So we're going to go ahead and get started for today. How's everyone doing?
Doing great.
Oh,
great. Awesome.
Yes, I'm loving the interaction. Look at John G with the interesting background, to say the least.
That's right.
Well, listen, guys, first off, thank you everyone for joining us for today's Mastermind. I'm so excited to be spending some time with you to answer all of your questions around lead generation, lead conversion, objections to overcome, and database management. And of course, this session, all of you are here for not because of me. It is because we have the amazing one and only Lindsey Butler of Keller Williams Realty Southwest here to join us and answer those questions for you as a top performer in our market today. Hi. What's up? Yes. So I'm super excited to be having Lindsey's vast amount of knowledge and experience to share with each of you guys here today. What I'm going to ask as we begin our session is, number one, we really want this to be a personal conversation and experience. So if all of you that are off camera have an opportunity to turn on your cameras so that way we could see those beautiful faces and be able to interact with you personally, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for those of you that have just done so. Again, we would love to see those faces. And then number two, we have already dropped in the chat box, start asking those questions right now so that way we can make sure that we get to it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just start off by talking about what is the objective for today's session, get an introduction out of the way for those of you who don't know Lindsey Butler, and then start the session. Yeah, Gia knows this. Those are not the questions that we're going to be answering today. Is Lindsey single? All right, so first thing, let's go ahead and talk about what we're here today. This is what we call a lead generation mastermind. For those of you that haven't been to a mastermind before, an opportunity for individuals who are encountering the same or similar issues, talk through what are some of those problems, and more importantly, what are the solutions to overcome those. So you got two minds here that are going to share our information and opinions on what to do. The goal is to answer a question so that most importantly, you can leave here, go and implement one or two things that's going to help you find and or close more deals. That sound okay?
Absolutely. It's a safe zone. So ask any questions you have. There are no stupid questions. Whether you're seasoned or you're just getting into the industry, this is for everybody right now because we can all learn from each other, right? No matter what brokerage you're at, we're all on the same team. So this is just kind of help everybody out. I'm sure everybody kind of got zoomed out a few months ago, or at least a month ago, to kind of get back into the community with each other and talk about it. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And as you guys saw in the email to sign up for today's class, the content of this class, we came with nothing other than our brains. So the content is really going to come from you and the questions that you have to ask. So without further ado, it's already 4 minutes in. Let's go ahead and start with the session. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Good. All right, so here's what we're going to do to start. What we would like to know are what are the questions that are front of mind for you when it comes to lead generation, lead follow-up, managing of your database, systematic follow-up, or objections that you're encountering in today's market. So it's going to be kind of a free fall right now. Go ahead and start either dropping the questions in the chat or unmute yourself and let us know what are some of those questions. We're going to get it recorded on this board behind us here.
And then we had some submitted too, right?
We did, yes.
Okay.
All right. So who here would like to ask a question?
So how can you set more appointments and convert more expired listings? Very few answer the phone and many are bombarded by tons of agents. That is a great question. Should we answer as we get them?
I'd say let's collect all the questions now.
Okay,
then
we'll get two or three more and then
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and start answering them so then you don't have to stay in line too long. But Josh, that's an awesome question. Hopefully you don't mind me calling you out on your question because I think it's great.
I got a question for you guys. Hi, my name's Brendan, by the way. Nice to meet you, Lindsey. I keep having a run into an issue of converting the lead. I'm talking to them, get them in the process. get in front of a lender and they freeze up and they stop talking to me, and it's like, no, I don't want to talk to a lender and all that. So it's like, I need to figure out how to better navigate them to getting, pre-qualified and all that.
That's a great question. So kind of getting them down that roadmap of success and that closing that transaction. And
Exactly.
you got it. Great
How do I
question.
put that on here?
I would probably say that's what motivates. And it's also, it could be a little bit of handling too. Situation. I might ask some specific questions when we get to that point.
Great. What other questions do you guys have?
You got bye. Great question. Always a good time to buy. Did you want to get any of the other ones or no?
I wrote down John's. Questions coming, guys. This is all for you. Another question's coming through. So I'm gonna mute it. Okay, there we go. All right. So some other questions that came in the pre-qualification form. What kind of leads should be turned down quickly?
And then ones that was the most effective method or approach to lead generation.
Hi, Lindsay. My name is Edgar. I have a question. When you do lead follow-ups with cold calls, after a certain amount of times where you send, "Hey, are you interested? Hey, are you interested?" What are good ways after those to continue following up where you're not sounding like a broken record? Can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? Because I generally follow up on leads until I get a leave me alone.
Yes, that is a fantastic question. I'm actually very excited about that because I just rewrote my scripts yesterday. So it couldn't have been more timely for you to ask that question. So thank you. And that was not planned. I'm really pumped that I didn't come prepared, but that was something that I prepared for yesterday.
We got a couple more questions that came into this.
Is it a good idea to pay for internet leads? Why and why not? How often would you reach out to the part of your database you haven't touched in a while? And what method is best to reach out to them to as many people as possible? Would email be good? Great questions. I'm so excited. Okay.
What method is best to reach out to them? Okay. And then it looks like Josh had another question about investors, was it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. Yeah. What are some ways to find out and get in contact with investors? Yes. I had a great call with someone yesterday about acquiring this information. So this is really timely. I'm really
great. Pumped. All right, so we're gonna keep the questions coming in the chat if you can.
Yep.
So that way we don't miss anything that somebody was looking to get out of today's session. Start with some of these questions here.
Yes.
Before we do that, just two things. One, let's get an introduction out of the way for the Lindsey Butler, for those of you who don't know who she is, and then maybe an initial thought or two before we jump into them. So, Lindsey Butler of Keller Williams Southwest. Go ahead and introduce yourself on who you are, and most importantly, the answer to these people who don't know why you're qualified to be conducting this topic today.
Oh, Daniel. So yes, my name is Lindsey Butler. I'm in real estate here in Las Vegas. I have entered. I started in real estate in the year 2000. So I've entered my 20th year in real estate. I started in Michigan and then ventured out here to Las Vegas. And I've been very fortunate to work for a lot of wonderful brokerages. And I've been really, really fortunate to work with a lot of individuals here in town that I was able to learn under. So mentorship was massive in my career. And I worked on teams around the country, and a lot of it had to do with lead generation. So Daniel and I have lead generated together. He's seen me in action, I guess, and it's been successful. And so we're excited to share with you kind of what we know.
Yeah, she's a rock star. She's an objection handler. She's got grit, determination, a hard worker, everything you look for in a successful agent. And she's going to bring, but those are the things that most of which you can't really teach outside of the objection handling, right? So we're going to do our best to answer these with some specific things you could take now, but to get to this level, it also takes some of those things inside, right? The grit, the way you think, the way you act. So.
Well, and really, most importantly, you guys hear this, it goes back to what you learn in kindergarten, right? You treat others as you want to be treated, and honesty, right? There's been plenty of times that I have told clients, hey, it's not the right time for you to buy or sell. It's up to you. You've come to meet with your advisor. And they thank me for that, because not everybody will go in there and give them that information because they're after the cash, right? And so I am after the long-term relationship, because that's what's going to continue. So I guess we can probably start with some of these, huh?
Bingo, let's do it.
Okay.
So I guess let's start with the first one, which was setting more appointments and converting expired leads. So
Yes.
what are your thoughts on that?
So I think with expireds and even with luxury properties, well, that wasn't even asked, I think it's very, very good to be the second or third agent that you actually get hired, because the other agents have conditioned the clients, right? They have sat through, they have felt the pain, have heard a lot of stuff. And when you come in and you give them either the same information or a little bit different, you're going to be a hero. And that's what you want to be. You want to be a hero and you want to get paid to do so, right? So in order to set more appointments and convert expireds, obviously they've had another agent in the past. So look at the listing, pull it up, analyze it. What do you see that is wrong? Now, don't call the client and tell them that. Call the client and ask them, hey, what's important to you? And then shut up. Just listen. Because most agents are going to ask the question and then tell them, oh, you know what? I see that you listed with another agent. You know, what was important to you? Oh, did they not take photos? Did they not put a sign and not put a lockbox? Don't give them reasons. Ask them. It could be simple as, I never heard from them again. I like a weekly update. Is that all? Yep. Okay. Sign here and press hard, right? No, I'm just kidding. But really, I mean, it could be something as simple as that. So to convert more, I really think you need to listen. And I think the also thing is to set more appointments is you need good data, right? Where are you getting your data to set these appointments? Are you calling the data? Are you door knocking? Are you emailing? Are you mailing? What are you doing? And I think that kind of goes into one of these other questions, which is I think how to get more information or something like that maybe, which talk to your title rep. They will give you information as far as investors go, because that's one of the questions up there. So I had a conversation yesterday with one of my title reps, and I said, hey, I need two things. I need a list of all the owners that are purchasing this type of property in the last year. And they said, okay. And I said, the other one I need is all the agents that are representing these people. And they said, okay, because now I'm going to call these people. I'm not going to send out a mass email, because right now, what do people want?
Connection.
They want connection. I mean, me and Daniel are sitting really close right now together, and we're not wearing a mask. I don't know how many people maybe have noticed that, but we are not really social distancing right now. It's kind of weird because this is like the first time I think in 3 months that I haven't done that. But I think it's really important to get that connection, and people are zoomed out. But if you pick up the phone and actually have that conversation, people appreciate you took the time to do that. Plus, they hear your voice on it. So to get that information, reach out to title. The other thing is Google. Yes, I use Google all the time. I go in there, I plug in information. You have to be kind of private detectives to get some of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Go to the tax record on the assessor's page. Pull up the recorded document. Who signed it? What is that signature? Where is it being mailed to? Who is their attorney? That's all information that you can call people on. You can always show up to the person's door too, if you really wanted to, and ask some questions. What else was really good for information? I'm missing a couple big ones, but
yeah, I think right now Facebook groups are actually a big way for you to find individuals. Like you go to Las Vegas, if you search Las Vegas real estate, you could go in there and find a bunch. Ones that have the acronym REI. Look for meetups. That would be another way. But it's just about finding and connecting with individuals. And there's a lot of those investment groups out and about in the city.
White pages.
White pages, yep. I wanted to come back to the expired one really quickly because yes. Josh, and for anybody else that's working expireds, one thing is a book recommendation for you would be Pitch Anything. One of my mentors recently suggested that I read that book, and it's an amazing, amazing book that talks about just sales techniques and strategies, closing. One of the big topics that it talks about is something called frame control. And so, when you think about calling an expired, any type of prospect, you want to think about the way they're thinking. they've gotten tons and tons of calls from other real estate agents. You're just another one that's reaching out to them. And by the way, if you're calling them by 8:15 a.m., you're already the 15th person that's reached out to them, right?
I don't recommend doing that.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. So if
Yeah.
you're going to do that, I would say know this: most expired callers are going to be, they're going to have what's called a power frame. They're going to come in powerful, arrogant, expecting to tell you what to do or to say something to get you to shut up and get off the phone, because that's what the other 14 real estate agents are doing. The question for you is, how do you break their frame and stay engaged with them? And for many of the agents that I see finding success, it's mixing a little bit of defiance with a little bit of humor. And so let me give you an example. So Lindsey, when we call expires, would you agree that most of the expires, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, gosh, another agent.
Yes.
You're the 15th agent that's called me. So let's talk about what sounding with a little bit of defiance and humor might sound like. Oh my gosh, Lindsey, it sounds like, you shed a little bit of blood in the water and there's nothing but sharks coming after you. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
I totally get you. And then just immediately jump back into your script. What that's showing them is that you're a professional and that you're not going to stop and curl up. You're just going to keep going. But you haven't ignored them. You've heard what they've said. So that's just one technique, I would say, that might help you at least keep the conversation going so that you could set more appointments. And then there's a whole other conversation around what your appointment actually looks like to convert them into listings. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Did you ever tell you the other one that I learned? When you
Please
showed up?
tell us.
So this is like, actually, if you are, as real estate agents, most of us are also investors or usually looking for a deal. There's another script that I've used in the past, which is absolutely true because I do invest in properties, which is I'll call the expired and I will try to set the appointment for myself. I want to view it. And a lot of times it can be really difficult to set the appointment with the expired because they don't have maybe an agent, and this could be a for sale by owner, or they just are not wanting to talk with you, right? So I try to really kind of make it so I can either make it difficult for them or I can make it easy depending on the conversation. And the more that you really tie into them, the better that you will end up doing. But I was actually going to talk about a FSBO script, if you guys want a FSBO script.
Please. Yes.
So this one is when you call the appointment, you kind of make it difficult to set it up. You go there and you look at it as if you were looking at it for yourself, because that's how you're setting up the appointment, because you are the investor. If you are not an investor, don't do this, because this goes against my honesty policy, okay? But if you could be possibly interested in this property for yourself, this is actually a really good thing to do. You go there, you view it, and you get through the property as fast as possible. They're probably not going to be really happy that they came home, set up the house, and you're in and out in 30 seconds, right? They're going to ask you, hey, what's the deal? And you're going to say, hey, maybe it's not for me, but it might be for one of my other clients. Right then and there, it's going to open up the door for a conversation with them. Again, you just want to get with them and to see their home, because again, you're also interviewing them. You might see the home and you might not even want to list it. It might not even be worth it after you meet them and after you see the property. Is it a project or is it a paycheck at the end of the day, right? So this is a way to get in front of them if you're actually an investor. And as a real estate agent, you really should be. You should be in the market. You should be looking at deals for yourself and hopefully creating wealth for your future.
Yeah, I think anytime you go on a listing appointment, they say that the first thought should be, do I want to buy this listing? Then the second thought is, do I want to list this property, right? So great stuff there. All right, are we good with expireds? Good. I think we've kind of given you some tips there, right? Repitch anything. Mm-hmm. Obviously, what Lindsey's talking about is we don't have to get combative. Also, come in with the mindset you could be the second or third real estate agent and just get into a relationship with them. Lindsey, the next question was, how are you responding to the question of, is now a good time to buy a house?
I respond back and I usually say, that is a great question. What do you think? And I ask them, right? And I sometimes get the ones back, well, you're the expert, I'm asking you, right? And I say, okay, great, of course. It's always the right time to buy or sell if it's the right situation for you. That's really what it is at the end of the day. So you're asking me if it's the right time to buy or sell. Let me ask you a few questions if that's okay. Sure, okay. Well, how long have you owned your home, right? Oh, I don't own, I rent. Okay, well, how long you rented? Then you go down that script with them. But again, you're having this communication with them to where you're not the robot, right? So what are you saying to them? You're asking them the questions, because if you put yourself in their situation, you get a phone call, right? Dan calls me at 9 a.m. or I call Dan or whatever, and you call me, right? How are we going to do this? How do you want to look at it?
You call me.
You want me to call you?
Yeah.
Am I the client?
No, you're the agent.
Okay, we're gonna role play this out for a second to see how this plays out, right? Because this is real life stuff. Okay, so I'm the agent, and you're gonna say, is this a good time to buy or sell?
Okay.
Am I cold calling you?
Okay. Yeah, follow up.
A follow-up call, okay? So nurture, 6 months?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ring, 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 ring.
Hey, Lindsay.
Hey,
What's up?
Darren, it's Lindsay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am well. Hey, I wanted to call and check up on you during all this craziness that's going on. What's the latest with you?
Well, we just had another baby, so that's exciting, and things are going well. Yeah. Thank you. No sleep though. That's the sucky part.
I know. Did you have a boy or girl?
We had a little baby girl. She's awesome.
Aw, what's her name?
Millie. So,
Millie.
Yeah. It's named after my favorite dance, the Millie Rock.
Oh,
it's
beautiful.
good stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful.
But yeah, we had the baby, so now I guess we're thinking, all right, it's funny that you're calling me. We might be thinking about making a move. But is now a good time to buy?
Well, that's a great question, Daniel. Let's see. I sold you and your wife your first home. What was it? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Gosh, time flies right now. And let me ask you. I mean, have you done anything recently to the house? Any improvements since you purchased it?
Yeah, we changed up the kitchen a little bit, did a couple renovations there, and then landscaped the backyard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know when you purchased it, we had gotten it as a short sale, and so you had quite a bit of equity in the home. I'd love to be able to run a market analysis, and this will kind of give me an idea of where your current home sits.
Okay.
And why that's a good thing is because this will help me to tell you a good time for you to buy and sell. Let me ask you, if you were to sell your home, what kind of home would you want to go into next?
Single story for sure. 4 bedrooms, because right now we have 3, so we need to get that extra bedroom for a guest. And then ideally a gated community. I think with us, we got non-gated, and so we want to make sure that our kids are safe.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah.
And financially, how are your jobs right now?
That's interesting. My wife, she was out of work for a couple of months, so it was a little, it's a little scary there. But we're both back to work now.
Okay, that's great. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So what we'll do, here's what I think would be the best thing is I'm going to run a market analysis, see what your home is currently worth, and then I'm also going to have you talk with my lender. He's going to talk a little bit about the financing process and probably talk with you a little bit more about what you need in the bank as far as what it costs for a down payment and the next type of home we can get you into.
So let's break script. So teach us how to think. What was going through your mind in answering that question?
Well, if you think about it, when you asked me if it's a good time to buy or sell, I didn't even answer it. I immediately came back to you with a question, right? And it was about your current home. And going back to you, every time it's drilling back to you because I can't answer that question. Is it a good time to buy or sell? Yes. But if you have no money in the bank and you have no job, it might not be the best time for you to buy something when you're currently renting. So for me to call and tell you, absolutely, oh, you don't have a job, no problem, and you don't have any money in the bank, okay, and you're about to get evicted, sounds good. That's not me doing the job, right? Instead, I should be having the questions of saying, hold on a second, you're laid off? Okay, you're about to be evicted. Okay, you know what, can I maybe help you with your landlord? I'd be happy to maybe make a phone call for you. Or what is it that you currently do? Maybe I can be a matchmaker and help them find another job. All of a sudden, if you can match 2 people together, you're the hero, right? Again, you're putting 2 people together. So in this case, I'm putting him and the lender together to see if they can have a conversation financially. And I was also going to ask you what you currently owe on your mortgage to see if you were underwater or not, which I don't think you were because we had that other conversation. Mm-hmm. But I would have to know more financially if it's actually a good thing. And I just had this conversation last week with somebody where they said, I want to buy, I hate my house. I've been in this last 3 months. It's too small for me and my 4 kids, yada, yada. She went and talked to the lender. That type of home that she wants, she really can't afford right now. And so she looked at me and she said, if I do it, I'm going to be pinching pennies every month. And so when we sat down and talked again, she said, you know what, I'm going to wait a couple more months and I'm really going to get my nest egg together and I'm going to get more money. And I said, that's the right thing to do. And it turned out it was the right thing to do because her son ended up breaking his arm 2 days later and she called me and he needed surgery. And she said, you're not going to believe this. I think this was fate. And I said, it might have been. And so when you just have these honest conversations, put yourself into their shoes. What is it that you want to hear from the expert you're going to? Right? Now, if you go to a doctor and you say, hey, doctor, is my arm broken? And he says, I don't know. What do you think? That's really not the answer you're looking for, right? But you might say, well, I'm not really sure. It hurts here, here, and here. he can help diagnose, he or she can help diagnose it for you. Not that I'm comparing us to doctors, but we need to ask certain questions in order to get to the answer. Is that fair to say? I hope.
Mm-hmm. I think, the key here is you got to go back to questions, right? So the first thing is everybody should write this word down, and it's a word that you already know, which is motivation, right?
Yes.
Got to go back to motivation because that's going to be the most important thing. Why are they looking to buy this house? You could riff off market stats day in and day out. And John, I'm so glad that you asked this question actually, because the real answer is it depends, right? Is now a good time to buy? It depends. Are you planning on being in this house for less than 2 years, for less than 3 years, for less than 5 years? Because maybe we need to put a pause on the buying plans, right? There's so many questions around what's going to happen with forbearance programs. Are people going to get back their jobs that they're out of work for right now? Right? Many jobs are getting eliminated. So many questions. You got to go back to asking your own questions of what's going on with this individual in their situation. Right? The minute you start riffing off, yes, now is a great time to buy because of interest rates, and then you just go, you pummel down in the market stats, you're not really helping that individual with their bigger dreams and goals. And that's really what we do. It's not just about helping people buy or sell a home.
Well, right. And a lot of people also don't understand what those stats mean.
Exactly.
We start peppering off numbers.
There's 3 months of inventory in the market.
What does that mean?
Huh? Absorption rate.
What?
Huh? Right?
Equity? Huh?
Yeah.
You call people, we use this jargon on the daily. We live and breathe it. Not everybody does. So we call them, not everybody wants to ask that question. What is equity or what is inventory? So you can say it, but then define it for them. Talk with them a little bit about it and help them understand it. People will appreciate that. Again, you're putting yourself in their shoes a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I think, key parts there are ask questions.
Big time.
Right? You don't have to be emphatic with, yes, now's a great time to buy, right? Because know that it depends on their situation. Do be a student of the market, though. Know the stats, right? Because that's only going to help you when it comes time to informing them of what's going on. But just remember this saying that we have in the market. Logic makes you think, emotions make you what? Act, right? And so the emotional part of the conversation is what's going to actually get them to take the next step. How you draw those emotions out is by talking about motivation, not just the market.
And that kind of leads in, I think, to the questions too of what was asked about what other things can you ask people besides, hey, are you still interested? Hey, are you still interested? Hey, are you still interested? Right? Well, think about it. When you sign up for a website, you know when you go on someone's drip campaign, right? You know when you get those emails. Which ones do you open? So what are you saying in your subject line if you're sending an email out? Are you asking a question? Are you delivering some sort of value? I have been asking recently, hey, are you receiving the houses and am I on the right track? I usually get like F you, and I'm like, cool, that's actually what I'm looking for. Like, perfect. You're not like someone that doesn't exist, and that's great. You're not looking for this, right? So awesome. Or I get, no, it's not what I'm looking for. Here's what I'm looking for. And then the next question is, great, is your time frame still 3 to 6 months or the next 90 days? And then I'll follow up. So then it will be then, hey, are you looking at financing or paying cash? I then just start asking random questions. That's really what my drip campaign ends up being. And I pepper it with a random phone call. So the last 2 listings that I ended up having pre-COVID were 2 people that called me and said, listen, I am not ready to sell. I will sell in 1 year. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to call you every month. And I'm just going to give you an update of what's going on with the market. Both of them never answered the phone and never returned my call. I kept leaving a message and sending an email. Finally, about 3 months before they wanted to list, both of them answered the phone and they said, well, Lindsey, I'm ready to list, and there wasn't anyone else I could call because you just kept calling and leaving me messages every single month, and I never called you back. And I said, I know. And I never asked for anything. I said, hey, it's Lindsey calling to check in. Hope you're well. If you need any market updates, I'm here to let you know. I hope to talk with you soon. That was it. And what people liked, they said, there was 1 month where I didn't hear from you, or it was a week later, and I had been on vacation. And they said, we got worried about you. And I'm like, but you never called me. And they said, yeah, but we always heard your voice. So whether or not you think people are actually paying attention, they are. And you have to also take the analogy of They might come to you, to your website, or they might walk into your open house or whatever else, and then all of a sudden they disappear on you, right? And you're going, what was that about? You kind of have to use the analogy of like walking in to a dressing room, right? You're walking into a store, like a department store, and you're just kind of browsing around, and someone comes right up to you and they're like, hi, can I help you? And you're like, nope, not interested. No, I'm just looking around. Well, you're lying to them. You are there. You're going there to buy something, right? But you don't want to be bothered yet. Once you're finally ready, then you reach out to someone. They want you to be there. So as long as you continue to be present in front of someone, they will use you. So again, it can just be, hi, I'm calling to check in. Hey, did you know this is going on in your neighborhood? FYI, interest rates are lower. Didn't know if you wanted to finance or not. Give me a call. It's just something random, and it doesn't have to be like earth-shattering. It could just be, I'm calling to check in to see how you are. Simple.
Key word is educate. What value are you bringing to the call? Are
Yep.
you calling? If you're right now, your follow-up strategy is, hey, Lindsay, it's Dan. How are you? Still thinking about that move? No? Oh, 3 months away. All right. I'll talk to you. How are the kiddos? All right, I'll talk to you. It's a canned follow-up that people will, here's what'll happen. And this is something to think about. When your name pops up on somebody's phone, what feeling comes to mind for them? Right? Yesterday I received a call, and man, I saw this name and I was like, oh God, this person's just calling to invite me to another thing. Ugh. What do people feel when they see your name pop up on their phone? Is it, oh God, this person's gonna ask me about more real estate, or who do you know? And oh my gosh, bring value. And it doesn't just have to be real estate. It could be, I mean, there's so many things going on in the world right now. Hey, you know, I just went out and ate with my family last night at Fogo de Chao, and yeah, my burps taste gross, but I'll tell you something, the food was great, and they do a great job with social distancing. You got to take the family to Fogo de Chao. All right, well, hey, by the way, while I have you, right? And at that point, it's easy to ask for help, but educate. What value are you bringing to these follow-up calls? Right?
You know how you just said like, oh, hey, oh, you're buying in 3 months or selling in 3 months? I would have been like, what's happening in 3 months? Like, that would have been my normal question.
Yep.
Because like, that's a normal response. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And usually they're like, I don't, okay. And then all of a sudden now you get into a conversation. Okay, well, no, that's probably just when I'm ready. Okay, well, you know, like, why don't we talk a little bit about what else is happening in your life right now, right? Like, what about the market? Have we talked about it? Then we might be able to talk a little bit about numbers, about what's happening, and then engage them a little bit.
Exactly.
But once you show interest, genuine interest in what's happening in their life. Oh, I want to buy in 3 months. Cool. What's happening in 3 months? Then people are going to open up to you. They're going to want to share with you because you showed some interest. Like when we role played, I asked him about his baby. I asked the name. You better believe I'm putting that in my notes. So then now I'm probably going to send him a little note in the mail saying, hey, congratulations on that sweet baby Millie. Right? He's going to be like, wow, that was nice. Nope, not many people do that much anymore.
People are starting for human connection.
Yeah.
Right there, right?
Exactly right.
So remember, look up what's going on nationally. Look what's going on locally. If there are news, events, or updates that you could share. Look what's going on in real estate. Is there anything market statistics-wise? Talk with your lending officers and see if there's anything going on with interest rates or programs. Look up what's going on in nar.realtor. Look on, I mean, there are so many outlets to get information. Find that one nugget that you feel like would be valuable to your database. Pick up the phone and start reaching out. Doesn't have to be more than that, right? Mm-hmm. But there's got to be some value that you're bringing to those follow-ups. Yeah. So I think we answered some of the not being robotic, right? Yeah. Can we answer this question about lead generation? Because I think you know, that's probably a question that's weighing on a lot of people's mind. What is the most effective strategy in lead generation right now?
This is probably like one of the #1 questions I think I get being in real estate, having a team and other things. It's what you're going to do. I mean, seriously, it's what you are actually going to do. So I will get on the phone and talk with anyone. So I have no problem cold calling. That's my go-to lead generation. I know by numbers and facts that it is the most effective, but again, it's most effective because it works for me. I think that, well, let me ask you, what is your most effective before I go on for a second?
It's cold calling.
Is this for you too?
By far for me, it's cold calling.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's because, especially right now with everything with social distancing, it's easy for me to contact a lot of people.
Right? Yeah, I mean, you can do it from inside your house. You're safe, you're sound. It's like a non-dangerous environment.
Yeah.
You know, right now with COVID, I kind of have a couple different ideas.
Here we go. Get your notes ready.
Well, I'm not saying like new ideas. I'm just saying, I don't know if I would door knock right now.
Yeah.
What would you?
I think what you're doing is, again, remember what's going on in the mind of your prospect. And I don't want to create stories here. For those of you that are familiar with the story model, let's not create a story that's going to paralyze you.
Right.
Go do something.
Right.
I would just think there are more effective methods. And with door knocking, you probably run into some issues with things like there are individuals that still feel a little bit funny around people coming up to their door. How do I interact with a human? And so if you do that, keep your distance, consider wearing a mask, and be safe there. But I personally feel like there are more effective and efficient methods right now.
I feel the same. And I wanted to ask your question on that because I also don't want to create a story in my head for not door knocking. However, there's a lot of different norms right now, I guess, with that. And I really don't want to offend anyone. And I don't want to make anyone sick in the event that that's something that's going on. So, you know, I don't want to be sick. I don't want anyone else to be sick. So I wouldn't recommend that right now. I think there's more effective ways to do it.
I will make one comment though.
Yeah.
If you've always door knocked.
Oh yeah, that's
okay,
a caveat.
And you've come into this market. I get when COVID first hit, you probably were like, now's not a time to do what I do. With that being said,
yes,
if that's what you feel most comfortable with when it comes to talking to people, go and do it.
Yeah.
Like don't talk to people.
Right.
Your business will die if you just stop talking to people and chalk it up to, well, I can't door knock because of what Dan and Lindsay said.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, no, but if anyone was asking for a way that would be really effective right now, that was one I just kind of wanted to take off the list.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't put that into my mixed bag of goodies right now.
Yeah. What else are you doing to generate leads then right now?
I am really hitting two things hard right now. The first thing is my database. So database, I know it's multidimensional. What do people mean when they say database? It's people you know. And it's people, I also have people I don't know because I have internet leads that come in through my website, right? So I'm hitting both of them. I'm hitting my SOI in my database, my sphere of influence, the people I know. Because how easy was it to call during, or maybe not easy, but I had more time to call them during COVID and have those conversations. Friends, family, what have you. And reminded them like, hey, I'm here to help. And in being in real estate, I know a lot of people. So just let me know how I can help you. I had more calls I'm originally from Michigan, and a lot of my friends in Illinois and Chicago asking me real estate questions than I've had in probably a year. Mm-hmm. And they were like, hey, okay, well, here's what's going on here. And I was able to connect them with somebody locally because I don't know the local market there. And it wouldn't be fair for me to talk about it. I connected them with somebody. I actually had a 3-way call so then I could also hear the information. And it was great. They were just educated. Now, are they selling or buying? No. But were they educated? Yes. And what's happening now is that they're talking to their friends and family or their parents. And there is some deals that are now coming off of them. So you can get a referral from them, but you're also having more things coming from your SOI, those conversations. The other thing is the internet leads, people that I've never met before, people that are, I'm just asking questions. Literally the script that we kind of talked about. Hey there, it's Lindsay, your local real estate agent. Do you have any questions in real estate? Equity, refi, down payment assistance, closing costs, anything real estate, call me. Because if you leave it too open-ended, I forgot to put real estate and you can ask me, you know, I'm here to answer any questions. And you get a lot of smart-ass people out there that will ask you, I mean, the questions that I got, I'm like, okay, learned my lesson, real estate questions. And it became you have to be specific and you get what you want.
Exactly.
And people actually gave me real estate questions. So learned by that little mistake.
Like dogs or cats?
Yeah, I wish it was those questions. People in Las Vegas have very interesting minds sometimes.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But so hitting my database hard. If you don't have a database to hit hard, what else do you do?
Yeah.
Who do you know? Who's in your phone? Seriously, just pick it up. People live somewhere. They're either renting or they currently own. You're just having a conversation. This is the time people want to connect with people. They want to have conversations. They want to be heard. Whether or not you agree with the person's views or their politicals or whatever, you want to have a conversation. They want to be heard, and then you can help them.
I think to add to that, in any market you're in, right? And Millionaire Real Estate Agent, great book. For those of you that haven't read it, I would recommend that. In addition to Fanatical Prospecting would be another great book for you guys to read. Any market that you're in, and especially in this market, your lead generation strategy should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Because prospecting based, you're going out there and looking for the business. I think a lot of agents right now, they're getting really comfortable with a really in-depth marketing strategy that typically, remember this, marketing takes 6 to 12 months before you see any form of turnover from that. So don't rely on just a marketing approach. What are you doing to talk to people today? Calling, door knocking, seminars. I think a big event or a big opportunity right now are actually these online events,
Yep.
right? What are you doing to educate the buyer on how they could buy a house today, right? How they could still look at homes virtually and how they can go through the process from the comfort of their own homes. How are you educating sellers on how they could sell their home and have people coming through their house safe and sound, right? I think there's a huge opportunity there to put together a Zoom talking about a home buyer seminar or a home seller seminar, promote it via Eventbrite, promote it via Facebook advertising. People are home and they're just scrolling through their social media, reading about all things going on around the world. Why not have your face popping up here and there, advertising something that you're doing, asking for a sign up? Two really big opportunities there.
Absolutely.
That.
I totally agree with that. And have an expert with you. If
Exactly.
you're going to be doing a
Huge
home buying
addition.
thing, or you're going to be doing something, have someone else there. For instance, I was going to do one with a 1031 exchange expert. People selling their home and then exchanging into the same or higher priced home. People don't always know what a 1031 exchange is. So I had a gentleman on a call so he could answer questions for people. I had another one where I had a real estate attorney answering questions about trusts, answering questions about real estate tax, real estate, just in general, attorney questions for free. People are like, is this free legal advice? Like, it was crazy. People just want to be able to get in, get out, and get the information that they need, hopefully free of charge, without it being painful to sign up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from the safety of their own home. And if you're the one that brings it to them, you're going to be the go-to every single time.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can say like the most effective method.
Right.
I think don't overthink it when it comes to cold calling, right? I think for a lot of individuals, they're thinking that reaching out to a stranger and asking right off the bat, how are you, is the way to do the cold call. I personally, and I'm just telling you my experience, and I actually did a live cold calling session with some of my agents and show them, you don't have to start the call with a stranger by asking, how are you? If I'm walking down the street and I go to be like, how are you?
Don't you dare start a call with a stranger with how are you?
Yeah, just go right into your script on, hey, I work in real estate. I know there's a lot going on, and I'm wondering, have you by any chance thought about making a move, right? Of course, there's a time and a place in the call for you to ask that, but not right off the bat, right? Answer the question that they're always wondering when they receive a cold call. When you receive a cold call, there's a question that you ask right away. Why are you calling me?
Who is this and what do they want?
Right. What is the value that you're providing me? Answer that question as quickly as you can, and then earn the permission to ask all the other questions that you have on your script.
Earn the permission. That is one of the, I would say that's a really good,
a
really good one.
Write it down, get it tattooed. Yeah.
You say, you can ask your follow-ups and your people you know how they are. When you ask someone that you don't know how they are, and they're like crappy, where do you go from that on the call? Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And like you said, I don't ask strangers how they are either. So
yeah.
It's just, when I get a sales call and they say, hi, how are you?
You've given them an opportunity to hang up.
Yeah,
right? So don't,
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't let them.
In many cases, if I could be frank, in many cases, especially with a stranger, you probably don't care.
Yep.
Just get to your script, ask it, and then of course, as you're building that relationship, you probably will care about that, and it's appropriate to ask at that point, but not at the start.
Texting is another way that I've been really successful.
Great point.
So it seems like people have been really big on texting. My CRM system allows me to send out mass texts as well as individual texts. And then slide dial. Do they allow text or is it just phone call?
I think, well, maybe actually, I don't know. But for those who don't know what slide dial is, let them know.
So slide dial is a system where you can call a multitude of people at once and leave everyone a voicemail at the same time. And so, for instance, if you don't want to call everybody, but you want to deliver that message, you can say, hey, it's Lindsay, just want to check in, see how you are, because again, you know these people, right? See how you are. My gosh, it's been crazy. You know, me and Rat, we're great. We've been doing this and that in Las Vegas. Anyway, we'll talk with you soon. Give me a call. Love to hear more, right? I didn't say their name, but I could maybe ask certain questions that would be a very broad category. The calls and texts that you will receive back, it's amazing. Most people don't even know that they're on a slide dial. However, if you are in the industry, you will always know when someone slide dials you, because it will boop, it will call you. So this is how you know you've been slide dialed. Do you ever get one of those calls and it goes like boop, that they called you and then you got a voicemail? More than likely they slide dialed you if you never were able to pick up the call. Or do you ever pick up the call and no one's there and then you get another one right away and you get a voicemail? That's another slide dial. So every once in a while, the system does like something like that. But if people aren't in the industry and they don't know about it, they're like, well, that was weird. I missed their call. And then they got a voicemail from you. But there's also mass texting systems. Again, you can use it. You can say the same thing. Hey, it's Lindsay, wanted to check in. How are you? Question mark. That's it. If you know them, that's all you have to ask. They'll respond back. Most of the time, they'll say, I'm great. How's real estate?
Now, for those of you hearing this, I know there's at least 1 or 2 of you in the 25 watching in this group, and then the others that are watching via Facebook. Somebody here is like, oh my God, a way of generating leads without talking to people. Yay, and you're salivating. Let me tell you something. The mass texting, slide dialing, direct mailing, it costs money. It takes time for you to get a conversion. And if you're talking a mass scale, right, for you to generate results. So this is good. Let it enhance your lead generation strategy, not be your sole lead generation strategy, right? It's a great tool, but it should supplement some things.
Exactly.
There's a question following up about who to cold call.
Yes.
So
that's a great question.
Yeah.
So a couple things. One, I would cold call something I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would typically cold call maybe an area of houses that I like, or maybe are in a price point that I prefer, or is in an area of town that I like. But before I do that, I actually email my title rep and I say, I need the turnover rate. And what they do is they're going to send you a map of Las Vegas or wherever you ask. You can ask specific areas as well, the turnover rate. So you ask them the turnover rate. The turnover rate is the houses that are turning in the neighborhood, right? You should, now everyone has their own percentage, but again, this is our Zoom.
Yeah.
So what I look for is a 7% turnover rate or higher. What about you?
So I do, if I'm doing a 6-month turnover rate, I look for 5% or more of the homes sold. And so, by the way, turnover rate, it's measuring the number of homes sold versus the total number of homes in the neighborhood. So I want to see 5% of those homes sold in the last 6 months, or 10% or more in the last 12 months. But 7%, I mean, we're talking in the same ballpark.
Exactly.
Here,
Yeah.
right? And let's define why.
Yes.
Right. Where there's activity already happened, there's probably more to follow. So go after that activity, or those areas that have activity going. You're probably going to find the 2 or 3 that haven't been touched yet.
Motivation brings more motivation.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, if you find a neighborhood and you're like, I love this neighborhood, you know, these houses are insane, and there's 4 of them, like it might not be the best. I mean, you can absolutely focus on those 4, but you better find something else too. And it should be a, you know, I would have, well, what number would you say? If you could find like an area of cold calling, like a list, what like a couple hundred? I mean, you could start off as, I would say probably, you know, I wouldn't go anywhere less than 20.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could go up to like 300.
I think it's just about pick a place close to where you live or close to where you work. That way you're really targeting an area.
Where you
then you could supplement it with other strategies like open houses and door knocking, flyers, direct mail. But yeah, just be intentional about it. I would say some other things that you can cold call around your offices, just listed and just sold.
That's key.
I think that's a big one. Notice the defaults.
Yeah, notice the defaults, but calling around your offices just listed, just sold, right? Because it's your brokerage, it's your office. Again, motivation. The neighbors probably just saw the sign go up. You're calling from that brokerage. That is huge, calling around that just listed, just sold. That is probably my absolute number one way. We closed in 2018. We closed, I think it was 75% of our transactions from just sold script, which is calling around our just sold properties and telling other people about it to where they want to list and sell their home. That is probably the absolute number one, I think, percentage wise. The other thing is, if you don't have a just listed or just sold, then it would be picking an area that you, like Dan said, because here's the thing. I worked in commercial for a number of years, and you typically pick a specialty. And there was a gentleman that picked land, and he hated land. Now, dirt's sexy, everybody. There's nothing wrong with dirt, but he hated it. And so he fought his real estate career because he didn't want to sell it. So make sure you actually have an interest in what it is you're doing. And if you don't, then refer those deals to somebody else and focus on what it is you want to do.
Mm-hmm. That's why most agents will get out of business, because they're doing something they don't want to do. Right?
Exactly right.
Yep. Awesome. Hopefully that answers your question, Josh. And for those of you that have
great question. Yeah.
Would you pay for internet leads?
Would I pay for internet leads? That's a great question. I don't now, and I don't want to, but I will tell you this. There are certain internet leads that I would pay for, not like, I'm sorry to say, not our Zillow friends or anything like that, but I wouldn't mind doing some pay-per-click leads. That would probably be the ones I would probably pay for, or like a click thing, if at all right now.
Yeah, I think it depends on what form for me personally, right?
Exactly.
So I would align with Zillow leads. They're getting really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The cost per lead has been driven up, at least from the coaching conversations I've had with individuals that have paid for Zillow leads. I know in certain markets actually that Zillow leads have actually changed their model as well, to where it's no longer a monthly premier agent fee, but now it's like referral fees.
It's referral fees or per lead or something like that.
Insulate your business would be my thing there, and just cautious with that approach. It works for some agents,
Absolutely.
so don't get me wrong, but I just personally would say that would be a cautious approach on that one.
Yeah.
I think Facebook leads are actually, you're going to get a lot for a very low cost right now. I mean, we're seeing some agents generate Facebook leads for as low as $1 a lead, which is obnoxiously low.
When your ROI is like ridiculous.
Right. So, and PPC, right?
Pay-per-click, right? Yeah, I mean, if I do anything, it'd be pay-per-click. And if you're not familiar with pay-per-click, let's say you go online and you Google best places to get my car fixed. Those top ones that come up, those people pay, and if you click on it, then that company ends up paying Google or whatever for that click. So mine, every time I keep showing up higher and higher and someone clicks on it, I end up paying Google, but it's a really minimal amount. Just like the Facebook, it's around that same amount. And I don't even have mine turned on right now.
Yeah, there you go.
So I actually turned my pay-per-click off back in February, and I got 25 internet leads last month just on non-pay-per-click, some people finding me. So it's not something you have to do all the time. You can turn it off, you can turn it on. Find something that is budget conscious for you. Find someone that can recommend it for you, and see if you can get a free trial.
Bingo. I think this kind of leads into one of our remaining questions, which is, which leads to turn down quickly. I was actually, I don't want to say getting into it, but I was having a healthy conversation with an individual that was talking about internet leads and their bad leads or garbage leads. I think,
You want those Glengarry leads?
Yeah. Well, here would be my opinion. Lindsay, I don't know if you'll have a differing thought, is I don't believe there are bad leads. In fact, in the words of Jason Abrams, a great professional in our industry at Keller Williams, there are no such thing as bad leads. There is such thing as bad agents, right? You generate leads, which is contact information, then you just leave them alone if they're not ready to make a move now. And the reality is these individuals, and we've seen on average, some point within the next 7 to 10 years, they're going to be looking to make a move. And are they thinking about you when they're ready, right? You could generate a ton of leads for as low as the cost of $1 a lead. I'm finding out if they're ready now. If they're not, I'm putting my database, systematically following up with them and getting some quarterly phone calls going, right? I mean,
well, let's talk about that follow-up for a second, right? Because that kind of falls into what leads should you work now, what leads should you not work, right? If someone's looking to buy now, you should probably be working that lead. If someone's looking to purchase in a year from now, you probably put them on some sort of nurture database. But here's the thing, life happens. People's time frame changes. A lot of times you hear in the industry, oh, I'm ready to be purchasing in 6 months. And what do we hear? Cut it in half.
3 months.
Right? 3, right? Yeah. So, I mean, life happens. So you have to also make sure you're also following up with these people. So personally, if I'm working with somebody and they're looking to purchase within the next 90 days or less, so the next 3 months or less, I am probably contacting them bi-weekly in some way, shape, or form. If someone's looking to purchase 6 months from now, I'm following up with them once a month. And what is my once a month? It's call, text, and email. I'm doing all 3 of them. And if they're looking to purchase after a year, I'm still calling, texting, and emailing them about once a month, maybe a month and a half, depending on how my conversation was with them. Again, keep good notes. If you don't have an online system, a CRM or anything like that, you don't need it. You can use Excel. If you're with our brokerage, we have our own system here that you get it too. But you don't have to go out and pay all this money. And that's the one thing I really want to make sure that we say today is the things that we talked about, make sure you know you can do it on your own budget, whatever that may be. And if you're like, Lindsey, my budget's 0, call people that will help you.
Title, your lending partners.
Exactly. Yeah. Call other agents that have been in the industry that will help you and either put you in the right direction or maybe take you under their wing and maybe mentor you or something like that. We are all in this together, so we all want to help each other, especially right now. So reach out to those
Hopefully
people.
You're seeing that from this session today.
Exactly.
So it looks like we answered the majority of our questions. Let's go ahead and get some closing thoughts here.
Oh, you know what, Brendan? You had a question. So you talked about how when you get a buyer into a transaction, right, and you get them to a lender, and then all of a sudden they kind of go dark. Is that right?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
So can you give us like a real life example after they go dark? Had they submitted any financials to the lender?
So I'm not sure what for example, I was working with a lady. It was a lead generated through our Facebook campaign on my team. And she, she told me what she was doing. And I was actually in the area where she lived, where she wanted to check out houses. And so I said, come on, let's go check out some houses. And so we probably checked out 4 or 5 houses that day, and it was going, really well. And so I started talking to her. She had never bought before. I'm like, all right, a good first step is I get you in contact with my preferred lender, and they can go over, a lot of the pre-essential stuff that you want to do if you want to move into a home. And they're like, oh yeah, I don't really feel comfortable with that. I don't know. I'm like, well, if you want to buy, then this is kind of the good first step to get it done. And she's like, oh, okay. So I ended up giving them the lender's number. Never called the lender, and now when I text the lady, I don't get anything back.
So to me, it sounds like she didn't have the motivation. She's not ready yet. So you did a lot of the right things, right? You said, hey, okay, great, I'll show you out. I'll do what you've asked of me. I'll give you a taste. And now, in order to do this, here's the process, and I'm going to lead you to.
Exactly.
I can't make you drink now. So I actually have this right now with a gentleman where he was gung-ho on doing this. I sent over my lender, and my lender has talked with him once, sent him the application, has never heard from him again. Okay. So I went back to him and I just typed in, his first name is Alan, and I just texted him and said, Alan, ? And he responded back, yeah. And I said, hey, it's Lindsey. Did I do something wrong? And he said, no. And I said, okay. I said, well, I haven't heard from you. And my lender hasn't heard from you. And we were so worried. We just thought maybe I did something wrong. What's going on? And then I kind of put the guilt on them. And sometimes they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then they start doing something. And other times they tell me what's going on, and their time frame actually just ends up being longer, or maybe they had credit issues or something else ends up coming up. But I became really real in that moment of, is it me? Did we break up? Right? But if I just send the name, was their name Susie ? A lot of people, if you get a text message, a lot of people go, yeah, who is this? Right? If you get something like that, or who is this, or what do you want, or what's going on? Then that's a way to start responding back if they're gone completely dark on you like that. Most of the
time, it's a way to just like get back in there.
That's exactly right. Because that's what you want, right? You want to get back in there and just find out what's going on. She could say, listen, you know what? I have no business buying a house. Here's why. You could say, actually, you're not that far away. And if all of a sudden she's going to say, thank you so much for, opening that door back up, or whatever the case may be. Not always, but hopefully. But you just want to get back in there to see if you can open that door and just see what else is going on. But I would say those 2 things is the first with the question mark, and then did I do something wrong? That usually opens it back up. It's usually just a motivation thing. I did have someone not like a lender, that they talked with them on the phone and didn't feel comfortable. And when I did I do something wrong? They came back and said, no, I actually didn't feel comfortable with this person. And I said, I am sorry to hear that. I have another person. How about, will you give me another chance? And then I usually have a set of 3 people, and they're all different companies. Some are brokers, some are bankers, some are men, some are women, some are national, some are local. The 3 that I have kind of span it, because that way I can try to figure out, or I can send them all to my clients and they can see who will mix and match the best. But
So I have like 5 people I have to text now, just with the name and a dot. Question mark.
I hope that helps.
Yeah.
It does. No, it really does, because it's I'm about a year into the industry, and just like getting hit with that, you know, the darkness, and like they don't get you back, and it's like I really got to find my niche on how to get back into that conversation, you know. So thank you for that. Yeah.
My pleasure. And don't always take it personal. I mean, sometimes it is personal, right? But most of the time it's not. It's something else going on with that person. And so trying to, getting back in with just the name will let me know. Hopefully I'll try to get you my information, because I'd be loving to know what happens with this one.
Okay. It's happening as soon as the Zoom meeting is done. So I'll let you know.
That's good.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up. So what closing thoughts do you have, Lindsey?
Closing thoughts. Really, it is, I'll tell you what I feel that I became really inundated with business over the last 30 to 60 days, and I actually stopped lead generating. And I'm starting to panic right now. And so last words is always, always, always do some sort of lead generation. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be cold calling. It can be going through your Facebook. It can be going through your phone. It can be just going out somewhere and being seen. Lead generation is multidimensional in so many different ways. Feel free to call or text me and be like, Lindsey, is this lead generation? And I'll be like, yeah. Or I'll be like, no, but if you add this, it's lead generation, right? Like there's so many different ways you can do it. You can be really creative with it, but please, please, please do it every day, because your business will get stagnant if you don't. And I'm looking at my pipeline right now, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, I can't wait to get back to lead generation, because I was doing it this morning before we had the call, and I'm going right back this afternoon since I don't have any appointments. Mm-hmm. And even after 20 years in the business, I still do it, and I love talking with new people.
It's a bloodline for your business.
It's a bloodline for your business.
I think, one other closing thought would be, I know there's probably 1 or 2 of you here that are right now struggling to peel yourself out of bed at 8:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, whenever that day is supposed to start, and get into lead generation mode. Because I don't know many individuals that wake up saying, yes, I get to lead generate, right? And if you are, maybe there's something wrong there, but that's okay. So with that being said, what we do when we try and remotivate ourselves to get back into lead generation is we go to all these different classes, and we're like, teach me, what do I need to do to lead generate? And what do I need to do? What numbers do I need to call? Where do I need to get it? Who do I door knock? What are turnover rates? Slow down a second here.
Take a breath.
Right? Here's the thing. Here's what's really going on here. Because there's 101 classes like this that's going to teach you how to lead generate. That's not your problem right now. Your problem is that you're struggling with your why for your business. You're struggling with figuring out, what is the purpose behind my business? What is it going to fund? What is this perfect life that I'm going after? When you're really clear on that answer, it's easy to get up and get out of bed and go and listen to that podcast. Finally brush your teeth and really just get yourself ready for the day and go and kick the day's butt, right? But when you don't understand the purpose that it's serving, that's where it gets easier for you to slow down for a second. So this might seem like a shameless plug, and if it does, then fine. On Monday, I'm doing a class. It's going to be the first of a 2-part class that's all about business planning. I think for a lot of people, if you had a business plan coming into the year, it's probably kaput now, and you probably haven't readdressed what do you want to focus on for your business. So come and let's get that purpose. Monday at 11 a.m., we're going to do another virtual class, and we'll make sure that we get the link out to all of you guys here. But let's recenter and make sure that you understand the purpose for your business.
Yeah. And one thing every morning you can do to help with your mindset is when you first wake up, smile.
Yeah.
It actually helps. And
it's easy when you have a friend like Lindsey Butler.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
Awesome.
Well, it's a pleasure with all of you. Thank you for spending your time. If we did not answer your questions or didn't go into depth, please, please, please send us information. I'd be happy to have a call, text, email, whatever is best. I won't slide dial you. I promise you that. Here too. But seriously, we're all in it together. We're here to help. And if you'd ever want us to do another one of these, we'd be happy to, I think.
Yep.
Yes, please, 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 please.
guys. Well, enjoy your Friday. I hope everyone stays safe, and we will hopefully do some deals with you soon.
Yeah, let's go make some deals.
Let's go. Thank you.
Awesome, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great one. We appreciate you.